system that we're seeing continually rise, excuse me, in usage and demand is what's called the uncoupling system. And we'll look at this in a little bit more detail on how it works here in a second, but basically it's a mat that gets rolled out onto the floor first, and then the wire gets laid into it, either 2-inch, 3-inch, or 4-inch separation between the wires. The purpose for this membrane, and more tile people are using a membrane system or a uncoupling system, because it keeps a tile from cracking. So even if they're not doing heated floors, more and more of the tile people are using these systems because it extends the life of the tile, especially if you're on a plywood substrate, because it'll want to move and give, and the tile can crack over time. So these coupling systems are more and more common for the tile people, so we're finding a trend toward this type system. So while we're here, we can look at floor types: ceramic, wood, vinyl. We can do all of those different types of floor types. We can do large areas, regular shapes, custom areas. You can do it with any of the systems that we just mentioned, and then the different subfloors, slab or plywood subfloors, and whether it's new construction or renovation. So here's a little bit closer up picture of the uncoupling membrane. Several different manufacturers have these, and you can actually buy this uncoupling membrane if you sell to, say, a wide variety of tile people. You can buy the uncoupling membrane and not even sell the heated floor and just sell them the uncoupling membrane. The one thing about this design is that the heat transfers better than most of the other ones on the market. The other ones on the market are more of a closed space, and we have an open space here with less area of air that is getting trapped in it that we're trying to heat. So we have a better transfer into the floor material, which is what we want to have. These come in two types. One is one that would get thin set down. It has a fleece back on it, so they would thin set the floor, lay this out. And then we have a new style that we've been selling for about a year that is a peel and stick, and once it's down, it's a nightmare to try to rip it back up from a standpoint of it will hold. Okay, so we're not, you can get it up, but it's not, you don't have to worry about it ever coming up on its own. So we're finding that more of the installers like the peel and stick because it is easier to install. I'm going to play this little video here so you can see how it installs, because most people are probably familiar. You can see the peel and stick, pretty simple to do. You just walk over it, press it down. He's going to pre-cut the cutouts for the plumbing. He's laying out for where the toilet's going to be and where the cabinet's going to be, so he doesn't run any wire into that space. And now he's just laying in the wire. And this little wire that you see right here, that is your temperature wire. That's what's reading the heat temperature into the floor. And then you thin set over top of it and lay your tile. So we won't watch them finish laying the rest of the tile, but you can see it's pretty simple how it installs. If all installers can install that fast, I'm sure they would be happy, but you get the idea there. Another thing to notice right here on this is huge. This membrane system is the only UL approved system in North America. So none of the other systems, and what that means is it's UL approved for wet areas. So we have other companies who are using their product in bathrooms, our competitors, but they're not UL approved. And the same for the mat systems of those who are still selling mat systems. So this is another thing that we do that is a little bit different. While we're just kind of talking about that, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the page here, and I'm going to click on About and then the company, and then I'm going to scroll here, and we're going to talk about the best warranties, because this is important as well. So the warranties for a thermostat and controls, this is pretty similar with all the different manufacturers on the market. They're 1 to 3 years. Nobody that I know of goes over a 3-year time frame for the actual thermostat or control. The electric system, we have 2 different type warranties. For the DNC Pro cable and the mat system, it's a lifetime warranty. And then for the foil heater, the inside heater, those kind of things, so the full heater be the one we'd be most concerned about, is a 10-year warranty. So, and then we have this really cool system that guarantee that nobody else in the market does. We have what we call safety net, and what safety net is that if the installer is installing the product for the first time and he damages it, say he nicks the cable down to the point that it's lost its resistance, or they cut the cable when they shouldn't have cut the cable, because you never cut the cables once you lay them in the floor back to the thermostat, or on the mat system you never cut the cable at all. And so if they did that by accident or just didn't know what they were doing, they can call Warmup, or they can actually go in this little chat box down here and tell Warmup what they did, and Warmup will actually send them a replacement at no charge. So they have no real fear in using a Warmup system for the first time. So and we're the only one I know that does that in the industry. So the warranties are greater. Nobody else that I know of gives a lifetime warranty on the uncoupling system. Some of them do on the mat system, but the big companies that we would be going up against are 10-year warranty or 15-year warranty, depending on who it is. So we have a lot of advantages over the competition when it comes to warranty and resistance. And what I mean by resistance is the size wire we use. So you would think if you want more heat, you would use a larger wire. We actually use a smaller wire than most of the people that we compete against, because that creates more resistance. So that's how we're able to create not only to heat the floor, but we can actually heat the room. So that kind of gives you an overview of what areas of products and what you would be using. We won't go through Snowmelt, obviously. We will look at the 4IE smart thermostat. We have several thermostats. This is the one that we pretty much sell all the time. And what this thermostat allows you to do is, when they call it a smart thermostat, they really mean it's a smart thermostat. So let's say that in the mornings you get up, you go into your bathroom, it's a little colder than you want, and you say turn it up to 75 degrees to heat the floor. And then as the day goes on, it's a little too warm in there, you cut the temperature down, so on and so forth. If you do that over about a week or two period, the thermostat will start learning that method, and it will begin to make those adjustments on its own. And then another cool feature is not just that we can operate the control from a smartphone or a tablet, that's what a lot of people call a smart thermostat. But this smart thermostat actually learns behavior and will begin to adjust based on those things that you've been doing as the user. The other thing that it has built into it is what's called smart geo. And so geofencing, if you look in this little picture right here, you see these little radius markings. And so this is the home here, and then you see these two people, and it knows that these people are X number of miles away from the house. So what it will begin to do when there's no one left at the house, it will begin to lower the temperature. So let's say you left the house and you left it on 85 degrees, and it knows that you're 10 miles, 20 miles or more away. It will lower that down because it says there's nobody here, there's no point in us keeping the temperature at this level. It'll never lower it down more than about to 60 degrees, so you don't have to worry about freezing or anything like that. And then what it does is it doesn't know where you are, it just knows the radius of where you are. So it doesn't know if you popped into Walmart or anything like that. It just knows that you're X number of miles away. And so what it'll do is as you begin to get closer to the house, it'll bring it back to that same temperature where you left it when you left. So it saves on the energy bill. So it obviously works over Wi-Fi and can work with Alexa and the My Heating app, and then IFTTT connectivity. That's kind of a platform that we don't really talk about much in our world, but if you have somebody asking that question, it does work with that. We have gone to what we call the portrait landscape, or portrait view versus the landscape view of the. We found that to be more common with the way the electricians put the boxes in the wall. So we got more and more demand to have it in the portrait versus in the landscape. So we have now transitioned everything to portrait. We might have a few landscape ones left from older inventory, but it'll eventually be 100% in the portrait. The other thing that we talked about was floor and air heat, and you see on the control right here it says air. So this thermostat will be set to measure the air temperature at 78 degrees, and it'll hold that temperature. If you look down here, it says that the floor is technically at 82 degrees to get this to 78 degrees. We can swap this and change it to where we're just measuring the floor temperature. So if we want the floor to be at 70 degrees or 72 degrees, we can set that temperature right here. The control comes in two colors, white and black, and the picture that you see here, you can actually upload your own picture into the thermostat. So it could be a picture of your dog or your children or your fondest memory of vacation, whatever you want it to be there. So the control is the most advanced control on the market. It is one of the things that sets us apart from the competition in the way that it works. It's not just a thermostat on the wall. It does a lot of other things. You can also download usage data. You can program in what your kilowatts per hour, where you live, what it costs you per hour from your power company, and it'll give you a cost analysis every month of how much it's costing you to run that system. It's really an advanced control. Warmup has spent a ton of time over the last 5 years of developing these controls to get them to where they're truly a smart control, not just something that we can control by our smartphone from a standpoint of changing temperature, but actually that it is learning behavior and helping to minimize the cost of running the systems.